it's Kristen and welcome back. Today I am talking about our favorite sparkly vampire. Yes, I read Midnight Sun, and I read it honestly as part of a buddy read / read along and part of a Discord server where we're doing like a Twilight read along, and the Midnight Sun announcement came like right when it was put together, so it just kind of worked out that way. I had no intentions of making a video or talking about Midnight Sun outside of the Discord server, and then I thought that maybe I will try writing a review for it for a website that I contribute to sometimes, quite frankly because I haven't submitted an article in a really long time and I am about to lose my credentials for the site, which I don't want to do because it is something that I enjoy doing. Yeah, I gotta get back to writing. Anyway, before I sat down to write my review, I wanted to go over my thoughts and feelings about the book, and it helps when I talk about them out loud, even if it's only to myself. So I figured that since I'm going to talk to myself about them anyway, I might as well make a video on it. Midnight Sun is book 5 in the Twilight universe, or book, I don't know if we count like the tiny, I never read it. There's a tiny book, hold on, I have it right here. The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner. I don't know if that counts, but whatever. On Goodreads, Midnight Sun is book 5 of the Twilight universe. Stephenie Meyer wrote it. She started writing it however the fuck long ago, and the first few chapters of that manuscript were leaked, and then she just never finished it. She never released it. I never read those leaked chapters, so I had no idea. But this is Twilight from Edward's perspective, and if you don't know what Twilight is, I don't know why you're watching this video, because there's literally no reason. Twilight is about a vampire and a human who fall in love with each other and are battling their respective emotions about themselves. So going into it, I will say that I read Twilight right before I picked up Midnight Sun, and that was a mistake. Because it is the same book, a lot of the dialogue is the same, and I found myself feeling like I had read parts of Midnight Sun, and I would be flipping back and forth through pages, and then I was like, oh no, it's not from this book, it's from Twilight. So it was a little bit confusing. If you've read Twilight, you know what happens in the book. It just add a lot of Edward's the brooding and self-loathing. The best parts of Midnight Sun, I would have to say, are the glimpses into other members of the Cullen family. Rose had some good story parts. Getting a glimpse into how Alice's power works was pretty cool. Even Emmett had some backstory, which was really nice to see. Yes, okay, so yes, my favorite part of Midnight Sun was getting to know the Cullens more. I really, like, straight up would devour a book solely about Alice. Like, if she were to write another Twilight universe book, that's the book I want. I will accept nothing else. I generally don't take notes when I read, but there were a few standout things to me while reading this book. I think because I was reading it with the hype in mind, I love a good title reference, and we got that in chapter 5 of this book, Midnight Sun. The passage reads, "My life was an unending, unchanging midnight. It must, by necessity, always be midnight for me. So how was it possible that the sun was rising now in the middle of my midnight?" I mean, like, it's melodramatic deliciousness. Other things that stuck out to me with Edward, he refers to Bella as the girl quite a few times, and it really like bothered me, and I'm not really sure why, but it did. And just don't do that. Like, and also I know that there was a lot of like thoughts about the cover with the pomegranate, and people loved it, people hated it, and it took reading the book to understand it. It is, I'm not brushed up on mythology, but it is a reference to Hades and Persephone, and I guess Persephone was bound to Hades through consumption of pomegranate seeds, which honestly made me appreciate the cover more, but then also, like, old boy Edward, like, are you really comparing yourself to the god of the underworld? That's a thing that happens quite a few times throughout the book. So dramatic. And he wasn't even like the worst vampire, so I don't completely agree with his comparison of himself to Hades. There are like multiple references to Hades and the pomegranate seeds throughout the book. Just if you didn't know, like I didn't know, that's why the cover of the book has pomegranate on it. Oh my god. There was a part where they are hiking. It's like when they, when he takes her to see his little sparkly magical skin, and she's wearing a sleeveless shirt, and he finds himself so distracted by her bare shoulders, and I thought that was hilarious. And I don't know what else to say about that. I laughed. I backtracked over it to read it again and laugh some more, because that's ridiculous. Oh, and my biggest thing that made me like fucking scream. These are like, that made me scream. So the sequence where Carlisle, Edward, and Jasper are chasing James the Tracker, trying to like track him down and kill him. James escapes them like 2 or 3 times by diving into the river and popping up at a different location, like a few miles down or whatever. And this is because apparently when you're in the water, scent becomes completely useless, right? And it's never clarified in the book whether it's just vampire scent or if that includes human scent. And so I'm thinking, like, why didn't they strap Bella up in some fucking scuba gear and torpedo her through the water to some other location to buy some more time? I feel like that would have been a very good plan. Overall, it was a fun read. It was a good read. I was a little bit more critical of it because of the hype around it, and I gave it a 3.5 stars. I think that if I read it a little more slowly and not directly after having read Twilight, it would have been a solid 4 stars. I did enjoy it. It wasn't a whole bunch of new stuff that would make it any better than Twilight from Bella's perspective, in my opinion. Is it the next great piece of literature? No. But it is fun, and if you are into Twilight, I would definitely suggest reading it. Let me know how you felt about the book. I would definitely... People in the Discord server haven't quite caught up yet. Some are waiting for their copies, and others are just taking their time reading it, which is fine. I wanted to get through it because I wanted to focus on other books that I am reading this month. So I want to talk about it. If you plan on reading it, tell me what you're expecting from it and then come back and tell me if you got what you expected, because I honestly didn't know what I expected, and it was a book. I don't know. Alright, that's it for me and my very scattered thoughts on Midnight Sun. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Little fun fact is that when I was pregnant, I was like super obsessed with the Twilight movies, and I have no idea why. It's just, I watched them all through my first trimester, and I have no godly reason why. But it was just something that happened. So I do have kind of like an emotional connection to Twilight, at least the movies. I'll see how I feel when I finish rereading the rest of the books. But yeah, that was a little fun tidbit about Kristen's relationship with Stephenie Meyer and Twilight.